So yesterday, Assertio Holdings posted this press release. Assertio announces publication of Rolvedon same-day dosing clinical trial, and well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Before we begin, as always, nothing in this video is investment advice, okay? And with that, let's start. But you see, I'm not going to read this whole thing for you, but I will explain why this same-day dosing is relevant, is important. So as you already know, Assertio Holdings' main product, is called Rolvedon. Rolvedon came together with Spectrum Pharmaceuticals, which Assertio Holdings acquired back in 2023 for $250 million paid in stocks, okay? But what does Rolvedon do? So we'll first talk about that, so then we can understand why this same dosing thing, why this press release is very important. So Rolvedon is an oncology drug. So let's say you have cancer. I pray that's not the case, but let's say you are going through chemotherapy. You see, one of the problems with chemo is that it ends up significantly lowering your body's white blood cell count, which makes you more vulnerable to infections. And this condition is called neutropenia, okay? Neutropenia. Now, how does Rolvedon help here? So Rolvedon stimulates your body to produce more white blood cells, making you less vulnerable to infections. And today, Rolvedon's main competitor is a drug called Neulasta from Amgen. You have other biosimilars, but the main name in this space is Neulasta, which, by the way, delivered $800 million in revenue in 2023, according to Gemini. But Neulasta and the other drugs, the other alternatives, these drugs have a problem because they can only be administered one day after chemotherapy, which creates a big problem. Because think about it. If you have cancer, you are already weak, right? And if you have just gone through chemo, your body is even weaker. So the last thing you want is to have to come back to the clinic the next day just to get a Neulasta dose, just to get an injection. And Amgen is actually trying to solve that problem. For example, they created this device here. So this device here, some patients find it hard to return to their physician the next day to receive Neulasta. With OnPro, patients can receive Neulasta at home so they don't have to come back to the doctor on the day after chemo. So as you can see, that's a very real problem. For many patients, there's no place like home the day after chemo. There's no reason to make trips back to the doctor if you can stay at home instead. So you have this device here, which is basically an injection with a timer. However, think about it. It would simply be much better if you could get your medication right after chemo, right? So that's where Rolvedon comes in. Even though same-day usage is still off-label, recent research indicates that Rolvedon can indeed be administered on the same day as chemotherapy. And that's what this press release here is about. Assertio announces publication of Rolvedon same-day dosing clinical trial. So as we read here, in the study of patients with early-stage breast cancer, Rolvedon, when administered on the same day, STC chemotherapy, demonstrated an effective neutrophil recovery and an adverse event profile similar to that seen with next-day dosing. So it seems indeed that Rolvedon can be used on the same day as chemotherapy. Now, is that really important since this same-day dosing is still off-label? Of course it is important. Of course it matters. Because first, the company could invest on making this use on label. Of course, that would certainly cost a lot, and of course, that would certainly take a lot of time, but that's a possibility. However, the same-day dosing doesn't need to be on label for doctors to prescribe it. If respected clinics and research papers prove that using Rolvedon on the same day as chemo is indeed safe and effective, doctors will use it anyway. The important thing for us is this. This same-day dosing could be a massive growth driver for Rolvedon and for Assertio. After all, Rolvedon is a win for everybody, for patients and for clinics. First, for patients, Rolvedon is beneficial because they don't need to come back to the clinic the next day. And on the other hand, for clinics, Rolvedon is beneficial because they don't need to use the same chair twice for the same patient. So instead of having to see the same patient again the next day, clinics can simply focus on new patients, which ultimately means more revenue for them. So don't be surprised if more and more people start using this medication, start using Rolvedon. So that's it for today. That's what Assertio's press release was about. It was about the same-day dosing. And to close this video, let's think a little bit, okay? So Rolvedon is currently generating around $60 to $70 million in revenue per year. Now, do you think it would be impossible for Rolvedon to reach 100 million in revenue? Well, I don't think so, especially with this same-day dosing in mind. Now, let's recall that Neulasta, Rolvedon's main competitor, is generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every year. It's true that Neulasta's revenue has been falling. However, Neulasta still generates hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every year. Now, what if Rolvedon captured, let's say, 10% of Neulasta's market? Well, that alone would already make a big difference. Now, to close this video, the point I'm trying to make here is this. Don't be surprised if Rolvedon sales continue to go up. If Rolvedon sales get to $100 million, for example. And don't be surprised also if Assertio Holdings' revenue starts going up on an annual basis. And finally, don't be surprised if the market finally wakes up and this company suddenly starts trading at much higher valuations. And with that said, that's it for today, and see you next time.